Hey guys, welcome back to Trendy Gadget. Today we'll talk about how killer robots didn't get banned by the UN. Let's head into it. Autonomous weapon systems, commonly known as killer robots, may have killed human beings for the first time ever last year. According to a recent UN Security Council report on the Libyan civil war, history could well identify this as the starting point of the next major arms race, one that has the potential to be humanity's final one. Autonomous weapon systems are robots with lethal weapons that can operate independently, selecting and attacking targets without a human weighing in on those decisions. Militaries around the world are investigating heavily in autonomous weapons research and development. The US alone budgeted $18 billion for autonomous weapons between 2016 and 2020. Meanwhile, human rights and humanitarian organizations are racing to establish regulations and prohibitions on such weapons development. Without such checks, foreign policy experts warn that disruptive autonomous weapons technologies will dangerously destabilize current nuclear strategies, both because they could radically change the perceptions of strategic dominance, increasing the risk of preemptive attacks, and because they could be combined with chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear weapons themselves. A UN conference failed to agree on banning the use and development of so-called slaughter bots at a meeting in Geneva last week, raising alarm bells among experts in artificial intelligence, military strategy, disarmament, and humanitarian law. Slaughter bots are weapons that select and apply force to targets without human intervention. Instead, they make their decision with artificial intelligence software, which is essentially a series of algorithms. For the first time ever this year, the bulk of the 125 nations that belong to the UN's Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons said they wanted new laws to be introduced on killer robots. However, some countries that are developing these weapons, including the US and Russia, were in opposition, making a unilateral agreement possible. The UK and several other nations also objected. We would have liked to have seen everyone get behind that. Emilia Jaworski, a physician scientist who leads the Future of Life Institute's advocacy program on autonomous weapons, told CNBC, "All it takes is one," she added. The conference concluded Friday with the group pledging to intensify discussions and consider possible steps that are acceptable to all. An epic failure. The fact that the CCW failed to agree on anything concrete last week was hailed as an epic failure by Jaworski. It's now blatantly clear this forum, whose unanimity requirement makes it easily derailed by any state with a vested interest, is utterly incapable of taking seriously, let alone meaningfully addressing the urgent threats posed by emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, she said. Verity Coyle, a senior advisor at Amnesty International, said in a statement that the window of opportunity to regulate killer robots grows even smaller as research and testing of these weapons presses forward. The CCW has once again demonstrated its inability to make meaningful progress. It's now time that committed stakes take the lead on an external process that can deliver the type of breakthrough we've previously seen on landmines and cluster munitions, she said. Killer robots are already in use. Despite what some people may think, slaughter bots are already being used on the battlefield today. In Libya, cargo drones made by Turkey's SDM have been used in the nation's civil war. The cargo drones are small portable rotary wing attack drones that provide precision strike capabilities for ground troops. According to SDM's website, the cargo drones were used by Libya to hunt down retreating soldiers, according to the UN report. It's the first really solid documentation we have of a use case of these types of weapons, Jaworski said in a reference to the report. But we are seeing reports of this at accelerating rates. We're hearing about swarms being used and deployed and developed, so that reality is very much here today. Companies making these drones are trying to develop AI systems that can identify the thermal signature of a human target or identify their face via camera, but distinguishing between combatants and non-combatants requires accuracy and precision. It's drones like STMs that campaigners are most worried about. These drones, which look similar to a normal consumer drone but have a gun attached, are fairly inexpensive to buy and relatively easy to mass produce. Tex Tegmark, a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and the president of the Future of Life Institute, told CNBC that gangs will look to try and use slaughter bots if they're affordable. That's going to be the weapon of choice for basically anyone who wants to kill anyone, he said. A slaughter bot would basically be able to anonymously assassinate anybody who's pissed off anybody. Hard to agree? The International Committee of the Red Cross, viewed by many as the organization that is the custodian of law of war, has called for the prohibition of autonomous weapons that are designed or used to target human beings. Richard Moyes, coordinator originator of the Stop Killer Robots campaign, said in a statement that government leaders need to draw a moral and legal line for humanity against the killing of people by machines. A clear majority of states see the need to ensure meaningful human control over the use of force, he said. It's time now for them to lead in order to prevent the catastrophic humanitarian consequences of killer robots. Campaigners say there are a lot of parallels to be drawn between bioweapons and lethal autonomous weapons. The US and Russia, which have two of the most advanced military forces in the world, realized it was in neither of their interests to let other countries have cheap and accessible bioweapons, Jaworski said. I think that's very comparable with the thinking around these small embodiment systems that target people, she said. These are cheap and scalable, so if you're a leading military, it's not in your best interest to have scalable weapons that can easily proliferate and be used against you. What do you think about killer robots? Let us know in the comment section. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.